Hello my lovely beans, and welcome back to another video. Today we do have a little bit of a different topic because we will talk roughly about health tanking. While this is a not unique, but I will only show you like one case. You can apply most of these mods to all frames to make sure that they're able to health tank. I just want to say that. I even have a health tanking Banshee, right? But in regard with the Valku changes, a lot of people were like, health tanking is not worth it, or health tanking is not good enough. I did do a test run for EDA with the setup that I will show you. Yes, it is a specific setup. You would actually need to test around how much you can actually change, what you prefer for your playstyle, what works for you, right? But that's what I want to say. EDA, absolutely comfortable, so don't worry about that. Let me explain. Our example today is Nova. Health tanking Nova. Why? Simply because I like to play Nova. And we do have a big benefit. We do have null stars, which is already like damage reduction, which gives us the option for a second subsume with extra damage reduction. We're technically stacking damage reduction. For shards, so just you're not wondering, I do run 1 casting speed, 1 parkour velocity, 2 energy max, and 1 duration. These are my regular shards that I do run on Nova every day. For this build is a mecha build. Why mecha? Because it's a whole set bonus. It is specifically for Kubros, and the Kubra marks an enemy within 30 meters every 15 seconds for a specific amount of time. When you kill them, you apply all status effects on that enemy to other enemies around you. Which 4 mecha sets do we have? We have in total Mecha Empowered, which gives you extra damage against that marked enemy. We have Mecha Overdrive, 60% primary weapon status chance added to Companion and 90% status duration. We have Mecha Pulse. Killing a marked enemy grants 60% armor for 20 seconds for each enemy within 30 meters. And that armor is exactly what we want, because armor is good for health tanking because it reduces the amount of damage that we're taking. And Mecha Recharge, 90% shield recharge. It's not bad, not necessary for this setup, but it's a good option. Besides the Mecha Set, we're using Molecular Fission, which is Nova's argument. Enemies hit by null stars are primed when killed. Primed enemies will restore a null star charge and have a 100% chance restoring 2. Which is like good, so we don't have to recast our 1. We are running Umbral Vitality for the extra health. If you don't have Umbral Vitality, totally fine, and for capacity costs to run normal Vitality. Adaptation for the damage reduction. Just a little disclaimer here, most of the time you will not have the full 90% up simply because you don't gain enough stacks. If you calculate with adaptation to actually do math, roughly calculate with 50%. Prime Continuity as duration for Eclipse and for our Molecular Prime. Equilibrium for the energy economy. Umbral Intensify for strength and health conversion, which gives us another 450 armor, stacking up to 3 times, which will help us to keep our armor up. And armor is our reduced health, reduces damage to health by 31%, which health conversion would be even more. That together with the mecha bonus that we're getting from time to time will make sure that our health is not depleting too much. But to make sure that we still do have like a big health pool to pull from, we do have Arcane Blessing, and I personally run Mode Augmented here to have more strength for my... In the case of the video, we are using a specific weapon. We are using the Koda Hirudo. Why are we using the Koda Hirudo? Because of the unique trait. By the way, both Koda Hirudo and the normal Hirudo does have that trait. Critical hits have a 5% lifesteal and increase maximum health by 5% for 15 seconds. Stacks up to 25%. So that will help you. I personally run simply a melee influence setup on that. If you want to test anything else, feel free to test something else on that weapon. It's more for the unique trait. So, secondary and primary is a bit whatever. For primary, you probably want to use something with higher status chance simply because that applies actually for your pad. For the pet, I did choose to run the Raxa Kupro. There's not a real specific reason why I did run the Raxa Kupro. Technically, you run it because of Protect. Kupros comes to the defense of its master, replenishing both of their shields by 30% of his maximum shields and adding a shield. It's not really necessary here, but I was simply leveling it at that point, and I'm still not done leveling, as you see that my build is not done. But what is the main purpose here as well? You do run Mecha Recharge and you're running Hunter Recovery. Warframe healed for 30% companion damage dealt, right? So that's what you want to do. To keep your Kupro alive, I would suggest to run Pack Leader. Since we're also using a melee weapon, we do gain Overguard for our Kupro, so it will be nice. Keep in mind that you do have to run your last Mecha mod on your class. So it actually applies the full set bonus. For posture, you can run whatever you want. You can actually run Assassin posture, so the companion will prioritize Eximus and gain Overguard that way. Or Protective, the companion will prioritize attacking enemies within 50 meters of the Warframe. I personally do like Protector posture, but that is up to you. The idea of health tanking. What is the idea of health tanking if you don't know? The idea of health tanking is simply that your health pool is enough that you can sustain all damage. That works either because your health pool is, recharging fast enough, for that you do have, Hunter Recovery, for that you do have the Hirudu, and for that you do have, Equilibrium, or your life pool is simply so big that you don't need to even worry about that. In total, you can support that by using blue shots. For that, you can use blue shots. You can either add blue shots with health, or with armor, or with health per second regenerated. That's like the three main options you have. And for the run, here I'm showing you our EDA run, so you know how it is to completely health tank in EDA. This was from this week. I did not choose the full modifiers. I think I didn't choose duration simply because being a bit lazy for my Hirudu, for my Eclipse. But besides that, we did take it. The thing is, obviously, do you get the Coda Hirudu and your health tank? But it works with all weapons, by the way. It's not necessary with Hirudu. Hirudu is just the little, pop on the E that makes it so much nicer. But besides that, use whatever weapons you do have. And that is good. By the way, why not? Hi, I'm back. I just decided to actually use my model again. Hi, I hope you're doing amazing. How was your week? Little wellness check-in. So, why is Nova so good at health tanking? Well, it's not necessarily directly health tanking, but Nova already has an ability called Null Stars, where it is technically per Null Star you do gain a specific amount of damage reduction. Damage reduction simply means that the incoming damage that is applying to you is being reduced, right? If you stack that with Eclipse, what we're currently using, because Null Stars is her own ability, means we still have the Helm of ability, available, means we can simply do whatever we want. In that case, I did choose Eclipse. You probably can also use Amamaru. I can assume that would also probably make it kind of nice. If you have any other suggestion for that type, what is making you tanky. By the way, that is a pure tank build-up. You can probably optimize it with more damage if you need it, right? That is just how tanky can you actually be for these people that are a little bit scared, right? Is it a lot of investment? Oh yeah, by the way, let's talk about investment costs. Health tank. When people talking about health tanking and that the changes in future are not the greatest, especially in regarding with Valkyrie. I don't want to say that the changes are good or bad, right? We don't have Valkyrie in front of us. I'm just simply talking in regards with the health tanking itself, right? Keep that in mind. Health tanking is possible. Health tanking early on is harder because you are dependent on few mods. I would always suggest beginners to actually put Vitality onto their build, or I do that regularly, because it will actually make sure that whenever you're getting slash ticked or when you're getting toxic proc, you're actually surviving that. Especially when your shield breaks, you're not simply flopping over, right? So having vitality on your build is not the worst. Besides that, adaptation is a... yeah, I remember it in a second. Arbitration mod. Health conversion is from Simularis, right? So the investment cost to get all of these mods will take you a tiny bit to get like the full benefit out of it. That's not what I'm saying, right? I'm fully aware that the costs to actually getting the build work completely are high. And that I totally agree. If that's your main worry about, I don't have access to most of the mods, that's true. You still have frames, for example, like Nova, where you simply do have null stars. That was, you know, vitality on will already help you. And then steel fiber. Armor can not only be applied from health conversion, right? So not too bad. By the way, that was the Exterminate. The Exterminate was a bit like annoying, but now we're coming to disruption. Keep in mind, I already did my EDA, so this is like an extra EDA run. So second part is disruption, actually. We are not using any specters. For those who are worried about that, if you have gear wheel available, by the way, you can use your specters. You can use Stunter Spectre, you can use shield drones, you can use energy pads. You do have your gear wheel available in EDA, so please use it. You can also use your crew member if you need help because you can't kill certain enemies or you want to like protect a certain area more and you split it up. Gear wheel is a big help. You don't have it available each week, but it's there and it's usable. Besides that, obviously, you know, using Vazarin for your operator to void dash yourself whenever, you know, you are in a little bit of a tricky situation is also definitely an option. So, back to the topic. Health tanking is expensive to a certain degree. You can use like a cheaper version where I totally would say yes. Steel fiber helps, vitality normal helps, you know. Is it then as great as, you know, the current build that I'm running? Probably not. I'll be honest to you. This build is a full investment build, right? But we are talking about EDA, right? So you're already at a point where you are, or where you did achieve to, you know, get EDA. By the way, the Hirudo kills Demolisher kind of fine. I'm just saying. Well, and I got a key. So investing into certain frames to make life more comfortable is totally fine. Another health tank frame that I personally do really like, and I think some of you already heard me talking about, is actually Lavas. Why Lavas? Because Lavas is not using energy, so all of the energy modifiers are kind of like, you know, ignorable, right? So that's actually kind of nice. That's why I do like Lavas for that. I know that some people do like Kume. I know that the general opinion about Kume is a little bit, you know. But I do because of Omamori saying that Kume is a great frame. You can put the like Mecha Set, or actually more or less the exact same set of Kume, on Kume, and you will have a great example. That's what I'm saying. You can like use this set that I'm using onto a lot of frames. The only thing that you will not have is like the double damage reduction from Eclipse and Null Stars, because, you know, Null Stars is beneficial for Nova. But besides that was technically the rework of Valkyrie. Why? Okay, let's talk about why I don't want to go too much onto the Valkyrie rework. I did talk a bit about it in my stream, if you're wondering, but I'm at a point where like people are getting a tiny bit too heated about the rework, while I'm at a point where I'm thinking, yeah, most likely you will struggle to use your abilities exactly like that in Void Cascade, right? Health tanking in Void Cascade works till level 1000 of enemies usually. Till then you're usually kind of fine, right? Yes, you're not invulnerable anymore. By the way, I got kind of like pushed around this run. You know, they like, they had fun with me. But that's beside the point, right? Most people, and I know you will all don't want to hear that, or some of you don't want to hear it. Most people don't do level cap Void Cascade. I know that I do it a lot, and I know that probably some of my viewers doing it a lot because I'm doing it. So people, because we are like simply, you know, you see me doing it, So you're interested in see me doing it. So people that like to do Void Cascade coming in. But the average player is not that. The average player is playing normal Steel Path. Half tanking for normal Steel Path works. Half tank for normal Steel Path is viable and nice. That's why I'm like at the point where I'm like, let's wait till Valkyrie actually is out. Let's see till we actually have her in game and see, for example, how fast her rage bar is going up. Because if you need to barely kill enemies to get your rage bar consistently up, and you do actually have that little oopsie for you in addition to rolling guard and everything, that is great. Is it sad that we do lose a lot of slots, like capacity to health mods now? Yes, it is putting us down a tiny bit in which way we can play her or, you know, build her. That is absolutely true. But besides that, we should not be like as mad. Maybe let's actually check when she's coming out what the numbers are saying. Just because the workshop is released doesn't mean that's the final, you know, opinion or the final stat. And see how fun she is to play, you know. Because we do get a lot of armor. So I would say let's just wait. But I want to like just show you with this run here, by the way, that half tanking is fine. Did you see me a single time going down? I at least didn't. And that's EDA, right? I do have a good setup. I will not lie. That is not like the chance you're getting exactly that setup. But keep in mind, you can always choose your companion, right? And if you are able to take all modifiers and all 3 weapons, you can choose your Warframe. Because if you don't care about the Vosper, at least in EDA, ETA is a little bit different because most people do want to get the extra Peely ship, right? But in EDA, you know, you do have the option usually to like unclick one modifier or like frame weapon. So, you know, maybe from now on, we are choosing a Nova, a Lavos, a half tanking Valkyrie in the future, right? Which was Valkyrie because of the Exalted weapon. When you don't have like a good weapon, it's a good option. If you, by the way, prefer any other frame, if you prefer to go Dante because of, you know, Overguard, that is absolutely fine. I'm not saying for anyone before you're like taking it wrong, you don't have to play it. You don't need to like it, right? It's not me. I'm not sitting here and tell you, you have to like half tanking now. No, that's absolutely not true. That's not what I want to do. If you don't like half tanking, if you prefer shield tanking, if you prefer, you know, any other play option, like, I forgot the name, shield gating. My brain is, you know, it's a little bit dum dum. You know, I have a little bit of a Jeopardy music in my head every time I'm speaking, but that's beside the point. You know what I mean? Do you? I think like you will see what I mean over the time. Like, I'm not sitting here to tell you how to play. What I want to do is showing you that it's possible. Showing you that it's possible without worrying, right? And showing you that you can still have fun with health tanking. And it's even less because Toxin, I don't care. Mech proc, I don't really care about that either. So, you saw like how many times I had like actually like Toxin procs and Corrosive procs on me. And keep in mind, in here is even like a reduced armor per ability cast. Right? It's not that I like actually spam my abilities like immensely, but I do use my abilities here and there. So I do have armor fractured on, right? Which is a modifier this week in EDA. So it's doing fine. Will I always run half tanking? Probably not, because I have frames that I simply like, right? But, you know, it's a great option if you don't like any of your frames. Half tanking Banshee. Why did I do a half tanking Banshee? That was even before the Valkyrie rework was announced, because people were saying like, oh my god, how many times do I get knocked over here? That is ridiculous. I do have a half tanking Banshee because I was like, damage multiplier, silence. You have a free, you know, slot for, you know, your Helm ability. And people saying it's so hard to play Banshee, you know, and I was like, why not making it easy? It's specifically a melee setup. That's the thing. I feel like a lot of times with health tanking, you do profit from running melee. That's maybe like the only thing a tiny bit here, where I feel like it's beneficial to run melee, even if you don't use Dakota Hirodo. But simply because of like, you do get from pack leader like Overguard for your dog. By the way, that's survival. And I do have to say, I mean, like, you know what? We will watch through it. You will see how I survive against the Necromax. You know, I was thinking if you want to like still watch it simply from before because of the time to make this video not ridiculously long. But you know what? We actually will watch it because you know it's 7 minutes I think the survival's taking, and you know I want to like show you that you know even Leech Eximus, Shock Eximus, you know you do not care. Okay, defeat the rogue Necromech reduces submission timer. Let's go. Who is it? I actually don't look at it. Can I look at it? Oh, it's a Arctic Eximus? It's an Arctic Eximus, okay. And we are... I did sped it up. I did realize. Maybe I should have not sped it up. But besides the point. We're slapping. That's a thing. You know, I wanted to like only use Dakota Hiruda and like but you see like how much is going on? And I don't even have like my full Arcane Blessings decks build up. Right? And like... I do not care. Did you see my, like, you know, shield going down one time or anything? Like, nothing. Literally nothing. Right? I do currently need to build my Arcane Blessing, but... having, like, 3 forms of damage reduction, or, like, 2 and the, like, health conversion stacks, like the armor. You know? It's insane. It's good. So, I just want to, like, show you it's possible. It's not the greatest way. It's not like, oh my god, it's like the golden way and you can do everything you want in your life, right? But it's doable. By the way, frames that are like beneficial for health tanking, I currently can think about like right out of my hat, are Mirage because of Eclipse, Citrine because of her 2, Trinity because you can heal herself, right? Like, every frame that already has a form of built-in reduction. When you think about Caliban, by the way, the thing with Caliban's passive will be overwritten if you use adaptation, right? So that's not as good. So if you put adaptation on Caliban, his passive is not working. So it's an one or the other option. More of a thing, right? I'm just saying, I'm sitting here being absolutely mech procced, have armor reduction from the fractured armor, and I do not care. I simply do not care. We are like continuous. Oh my god, I'm getting pushed around like so badly. And it's going like a lot on. There's a lot on the screen. There's a lot of colorful items going on. I'm just saying, everything is fine. Everything is possible, you know. Nothing to worry. Like, we're fine. We're, like, doing amazing. Having fun, you know. Can you, like, also believe that I did EDA just because of that again? Just for that, I did do EDA again. Can we talk about that? I was like, fine. We're testing it. Half tanking can't be that bad. So... And props to Skizzy, by the way, because we had that idea together after... Or, like... the half tanking, we've worked on it together after we watched some videos and we were like, is it really that bad? It can't be that bad. You know, when I can like survive on a, you know, half tanking Banshee, you know, it can't be that bad. It simply can't, you know, and here we are, you know, in the middle of the night. For me, more day. Testing out weird builds to prove to you that is... By the way, he's cheating. Oh my god, my shield went down. Do you see that? My shield went down. Just a notch, but it did went down. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's see. We still have 3 minutes and 37 left. Oh my god, my shield is actually moving. So as long as you're moving, you're fine. I would not suggest to like, you know, stand around simply because then your health conversion stacks will fall off and then you get like, you know, less armor reduction, like armor and like damage reduction from that, you know. But like, if you need to AFK for a second, you can AFK for a second, you know. So you are absolutely doing fine. But you see now the purpose, right? But I will, to be fair, sit through here now the total time. It's like 3 more minutes. We do have to find a topic for 3 more minutes. And this time, probably not talking about chocolate milkshakes, because otherwise I'm like sad again that I don't have chocolate milkshake. Ooh, but while it's sad news because my vanilla syrup is empty for my coffee, you know, usually my favorite drink is a iced vanilla latte. My vanilla syrup is actually empty, but I do have cake. So we do have cake. So what we will do after this one, we will all getting a coffee and a piece of cake. I mean, like if you have access and if you even like coffee, right? But I do want you to make sure that you're getting a treat. And don't forget to hydrate, right? You know, when I was talking earlier about a wellness check, I do actually mean a wellness check. I do want to make sure that you're all doing amazing. So please make sure that you are indeed hydrating, that you are indeed eating your lunch or dinner. Don't forget to take your meds, right? Please do that. I want us all to be healthy and in the best position we can, which is not always like perfect, but if you're working slowly on a good position, you know, it's better than, you know, not. So, don't forget to stretch, maybe open a window, get some fresh air, you know, small steps. We're taking small steps. While we're like, you know, talking about health tanking, we don't want to health tank in real life. We want to be healthy as much as possible. And I got knocked over. Ridiculous. There we go, next one is down. We do have to still survive for like a whole minute. But that's besides the point. We are surviving easily, right? There's like not the slightest bit of an issue. I actually do have fun when I watch it. I kind of want to like, okay, when I have the options next week, because for ETA, you know, usually I don't have that much freedom, I will try to like actually do like an actual run with all modifiers for health tanking. I will not promise it, but I want to make sure to like show you with a full, because I don't want to say people now, but you had like the weapon set up and you know, you didn't choose some duration and everything, right? I don't want people to do that. So when there's an option for EDA, ETA next week, I will make sure that I'm I mean, like, to be fair, no, I don't need to. Like, just check out any of my other runs where I do play lavas. And I do have like a minimum 2 uploaded that I can currently think about for EDA. And you will see that it's good. It's working. It's an easy possibility. By the way, we survived. I can't tell you exactly how long it was. I think it was 7 minutes that we took for that survival, but you know, it was not bad. And there's a Voca. If you see me collecting Vocas, I'm a little loot goblin. I want my Vocas. They're free. Yes, I should probably like also like check with the air support, the Archon Eye, how many more we have around that are like easy accessible. But you know, sometimes I do forget, you know. But Vocas collecting is a great thing. So, but I do not really check the spots. I know like when you go left there up into the vent that there's a spot. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like health tanking a little bit more and see you next time. Bye bye.